every minute news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DG360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Glad to have you join us again on Cold Digest Tuesday. One of the messages I'm getting recently are friends saying, change or transformation, which side are you on? And that might just be the question I'm asking you this morning. I don't need you to answer me, but I just need you to make your decision wisely. And that's what we do here on Cold Digest, bringing you in-depth review and analysis of stories as they break, helping you, so to speak, to make the right decisions as we count down to 2015 February election. Lots of things are happening in a jiffy. Former President Obasanjo sometimes last year released 3 volumes autobiography, My Watch, slamming President Goodluck Jonathan and his administration. He was somewhere during the weekend at the president's niece's wedding. It was quite obvious. Last night, again, there was a meeting ongoing between him and Mr. President. We can quickly, very blurry picture, no doubt, but many are also questioning the positioning of Mr. President in that picture. If you can see him, I mean, I'm talking about the former president, and check out where the couple really is on this picture. I mean, the couples are not, aren't the couples supposed to be at the center of the picture? But they say that the former president always have a way of being at the center of everything. And just like he's at the center of the ongoing campaigns in 2015 general elections. There are news that he met with Mr. President yesterday at his Hilltop Otta Palace, and there are insinuations already whether they met, whether they didn't meet, and of course what that portends for is alarming support for APC in recent times. There are also issues of violence here and there. The bomb that rocked the APC secretariat in Rivers State, the attack on 2 PDP buses, I believe in Port Harcourt, the reaction from the United States government as well as the Nigerian police. Lots of things seem to be happening, fire outbreak here and there. But many are also of the opinion that all of these activities might just be cloud Nigerians from the real thing. And the real thing would be, what is INEC doing as regards ensuring a free, fair and violence-free election? Much more importantly, how do we organize such an election in Nigeria that we are judged free and fair, just like what we experienced in 1993, which is being talked about till today as one of the best elections conducted yet in Nigeria. Sometimes last week, INEC dropped a bombshell on us. And of course, it's what you have on your screen right now, a distribution. They call it balance of permanent voter cards as at 7th January 2015. There's been lots of complaints really as regards the collection of these PVCs. But INEC said it has, as at 7th of January, distributed not less than 70% of the about 54 million PVCs that it has received. Now, what that distribution means, just before you go, let's take it one by one, go back a little. But what that distribution would mean, does it translate to the fact that they talked about distributing over 38 million PVCs? Does that really mean that over 38 million Nigerians have gotten their own PVCs? The distribution was interesting in northwest Nigeria, over 12 million, in southwest, over 6 million. The least will be in southside, I believe, with Mr. President's state particularly being the least, the state with the least number of PVCs collected yet. But relative to the number of registered voters in 2011, about 73 million, INEC, after detecting some double registration, says it has brought that figure down to 70 million. Relative to the number of people who have not clocked, who just clocked 18 this year, many Nigerians who are yet to register, many would say that 54 million, so to speak, might just be a far cry from the total number of valid voters that are expected in the 2015 elections. Although there were 70 million registered voters in 2011, less than 40 million actually voted. But in such a time whereby we now have 54 million PVCs. Are we expecting a drop in the number of voters that will participate in the February election or otherwise? Of course, Ekiti here shows the number of PVCs that have been received, the number of PVCs that have been distributed. The bottom line in all of these figures is that 65% of 732,000 plus of PVCs have been collected in that part of Nigeria. You can keep scrolling now and let's see what the distribution really looks like across the country. Now we're going to open the phone lines for you this morning as we find out from you in our way of finding out what the statistics are, what we call your PVC story. If you have gotten your PVC and how exactly did they go with you? I'm particularly baffled and interested in this topic because most of the guests that I've had the opportunity to interview in recent times, the answers have been no. They're yet to get it. It's been one complaint or the other. But INEC is saying that it has actually distributed over 70% of the PVC it has as at 7th of January. So where is the challenge? There are also reports of being biased at the collection center. I can't confirm that here, and that's why I'm going to be open the phone lines to have you have your view and have your own opinion as regards the procedures. There was someone who spoke to me recently and was talking about distributing PVCs along party lines. They say we'll give 3 to PDP, we give 3 to APC, we give 2 to Labour. And there was one who actually said for the first time in a long time he had to wake up 5 a.m. every morning in a week to go for the PVC, and he didn't get it. He says after a while being on the line, some people just come from nowhere and then they give attention to those people other than the people on the line. And after a while, that kick-started some bit of mayhem in that particular area in Lagos, where they needed the help of security agencies to restore peace and order. What is your PVC story? Of course, I had 2015 election between INEC and the electorate is what we'll be focusing on the first segment of the show this morning. The phone lines are on the screen. The phone is buzzing already, but let's quickly also find out some of the people we spoke with earlier, I believe last week in Lagos, about their own experience and what what's it called now? What the suggestions would be for INEC at this time. Some are suggesting that probably it's about time that INEC relax a little bit on the rule of the use of permanent voter cards. If we have our temporary voter cards, and if it's not our fault, if INEC has not done its logistics well, then maybe we should be allowed to use our TVC. Spoke earlier also sometimes last week with the APC National Publicity Secretary, who was strongly against that might just be another loophole in the electoral processes. But let's just quickly hear from this folks out as regards their reactions on the PVC, as we also await your calls to find out what your PVC story has been.
People where you know collect, you're supposed to get your own. So you understand now, because if you don't get, because of our children, supposed to get.
The election cannot be held when you don't have the card, because it will resort to fraudness. Because they will try to manipulate people's name without voting and tell them that they've already voted.
They should postpone the election. Yes, that's my own suggestion. Maybe they should postpone the election.
Normally, for one to vote, you have to use your PVC. But if you don't have it, you're not going to vote. I think the procedure of collecting it is they need to extend the time.
Voted the other time, I saw nothing out of it. So right now, I've decided I'm not going to vote for anybody. Not ready to vote. I'll stay at home and relax.
I have no doubt that INEC is aware of the position of people who have collected this.
Okay, I'm joined now by Thomas calling in from Uyo. Thomas, can you turn down the volume of your TV set? All right, tell me, what's your PVC story first? Have you gotten your permanent voter card? I'm with you, Thomas. Are you there?
I haven't up till now. The issue is, if you go to I'm here. Hello?
I'm with you. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah. find our originals, okay?
Okay.
But I have the duplicate. The first one we did, the temporary card.
Okay.
But I'm getting to the office to find to go look for the originals. You can't find it.
So what you're saying now is that as of today, you are here to get your PVC?
Yes.
And what exactly were you told when you went to the INEC office in your local government?
I was told to go do another one.
Okay. Have you done that?
And yeah, but I've not done it because the procedure they demanded was very, very tedious. You have to go find a passport.
Just passport now. Why not just go get a photograph, a passport photograph, and get to fill that form again?
I believe INEC should make a scanner that can scan a picture so that they use it for the permanent card. Because most of us, like me, I'm resident in Uyo, but I did my registration in Calabar. Hello?
I'm with you. I'm with you, Thomas. I understand that the last time we had the resident electoral commissioner in the house with us, he talked about the possibility of changing location, that all you needed to do, just like Thomas said, who called in from Uyo, is they will give you a form, I think a change of location form, so to speak. You attach your passport photograph. And if INEC cannot provide scanner, I think that's just the little extra mile we might also want to go to ensure that we get those things done as we prepare to vote in February 15. It is quite important that we don't put everything also on INEC. There is a responsibility for you and I. Much importantly, apart from all these tedious steps and activities, it is also important that we have some time to let go. That's really the hardest challenge. I mean, that seems to be the biggest challenge now, the time to let go for all of these activities. Let's find out your PVC story this morning if you're gotten it. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Anthony.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Good morning.
What's your name?
I'm Larry.
Okay.
Calling from Akure.
Larry from Akure, good morning.
Good morning. I love the way you introduce the topic. Are you for change or for transformation?
And I told you I don't want to know yet. That's just...
1 year ago, it was for transformation. I thought that the roads would have been transformed. I thought our healthcare system would have been transformed. I thought that our power supply would have been transformed. And I thought our youth, by now, most of them would have been gainfully employed.
Larry, just a minute, Larry. That question was a rhetoric question. No? I really didn't mean that you should answer me. So let's go to the business of the day. Have you gotten your permanent voter card?
No, I have not gotten it because I did when I could not.
Are you there? I'm afraid we lost that call. So it doesn't really matter whether you are with change or transformation. If you have not gotten your PVC, well, maybe you can campaign for them, but I'm not going to give you this platform to do any campaign. I just want to find out what your PVC story is all about. INEC informed us last week that it has distributed over 70% of the PVCs it has received thus far, about 54 million of them. And he's saying over 38 million of those PVCs have been distributed. All we need to find out is find out across Nigeria from all of our callers to find out what the situation really is with them at this time and know if indeed they have gotten their PVCs. We're having a big challenge with the phone line, but keep trying. And when you call in, please turn down the volume of your TV set. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
I'm calling from Aba.
From Aba, what's your name?
I'm calling from Aba.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Zebedi.
Remedy?
Zebedi.
Oh, Zebedi. I need you to turn down the volume of your TV set for me, Zebedi.
Okay, Zebedi.
All right, now go ahead with your contribution. Have you gotten your PVC yet?
Yeah, the first time I went there, it was all about stories.
Okay.
It was all about stories. They will tell you, you will go to the other. go to the other world. I'm even going there. And but eventually, if I get there today, I couldn't be able to get it. I will end it. The issue there is, and when I saw what you wrote on the screen,
okay,
I found that in the degree that is being blown, I'm not one person. I'm not even his own PVC.
Okay.
Then why do they still want to go on with the election? Why can't they postpone the election? What is this fire brigade approach is all about? I don't know whether the politicians have the masses or the nation at heart, or do they just go for what they want? You know, it's to you show a lot of people in Lagos that they say, I think if the thing can be postponed, I say if the thing be postponed to be better, so that everybody can get his own PVC. Vote will count. Not just they come out with anything say that this person won, in order to end for their own personal interest. That is my only contribution.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Zebedee. I hope that you try again and you keep trying until you lay your hand on your PVC before it gets too
like what
late.
I said, I'm going there now. And
Okay.
if I get there now and it was not possible, then I will just have to know that it's not. I don't have to forget about it.
Let's be hopeful. Zebedee, let's be hopeful and optimistic that it will get better, and of course that you will also get your PVC when you go back there. We'll just take a couple of more calls. I've had 3 calls already, and none of them are affirmative or positive yet as regards collecting their PVC. As a matter of fact, all of them have different stories to tell. But we want to hear really from you. There was someone who also claimed that INEC officials were asking him for money before he get the PVC. We cannot confirm that story on this platform, but that is why we'd really need to hear from you. The phone line is on the screen. When you call in, endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can hear you crystal clear. Of course, in the FCT, about 48% of the PVC, according to INEC, has been distributed in Oyo. About 57% have been distributed. Kano has 86.63% of the PVC distributed already. But at the same time, it doesn't really go right as well with south part of Nigeria. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, hi. I'm calling from Benin.
You are calling from Benin.
Yeah.
What's your name again?
Yahaya.
Yahaya. All right. Go ahead. Have you gotten your PVC?
Yes, I have my PVC with me. Yes, I have my PVC with me. Yes, of course. To make the message better.
Okay.
I have my PVC with me.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Please just turn down the volume of your TV set so we can do without the feedback distortion. What was your experience like in collecting your PVC? Was it tedious like many other callers have said?
I don't have any problem at all. I collected peacefully.
Peacefully in Benin, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be voting in Benin come 2015.
Yes.
Good to hear from you. You must be one of those 38 million naira that a million people. Are you kidding me? I must be full of money. You must be part of the 38 million people INEC already gave out PVCs to. Thank you for your contribution. We'll take 1 or 2 more calls. We need to find out your PVC story. Good news for the first time, 1 out of 4. Okay, that's good. Yahya from Benin says that he already got his PVC. It was quite peaceful, and he's ready to go out, all out February 14 to indeed vote. Well, that's for transformation or change. That's for him to decide. Of course, the scroll line are showing is the distribution of what INEC calls the over 38 million PVCs that have been given out as at 7th of January 2015. And then it also shows a distribution of the Northwest having over 12 million PVCs distributed already, followed by the southwestern part of Nigeria with over 6 million PVCs given out. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Good morning, yeah. I have to call back again. My time got finished.
Oh, I see. What's your name?
I'm Thomas.
Okay, Thomas from Uyo.
Yes.
All right, now tell me, you said you have not gotten your PVC yet?
Yeah, I've not gotten it up till now. The issue is, at times, the staff at the office, are you hearing me?
I'm with you, I'm with you.
Yeah. The staff over there, you know, most of them are bigger than the job. So attending to you is a very big problem. Huh?
I'm with you, I'm with you.
Yeah, so I think it should be brought in there so they can attend to us. Because whenever you go there to go do the PVC again, they will give you stories. They don't have this, they don't have that. At times, they will tell you to wait. They want to go and eat. You understand? And it's so tedious and hectic. Now, I did mine in Calabar. But I'm resident in Uyo. Now, I'm almost traveling every week to like go find ways to do my PVC. But due to the nature of my job, I can't just really have easy access because when I'm there on Friday, going to them, they will just give you stories that touches.
It's all right. I'm hopeful that you'll be determined and you keep trying until you make it happen. You need to get your PVC to make your voice count come February 14, 2015. We're going to keep doing these almost every day before the whole process ends to find out and fill your pulse as regards the PVC distribution. We have to do other things now. I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, of course, I'll be joined by a veteran security consultant, and he's also a retired colonel as we will begin to touch on insecurity and the 2015 elections. Stick around. Don't go away.
Fellow Nigerians, as we enter a new year, let us talk Nigerian to Nigerian. Many of you believe that something is wrong with Nigeria. Many of you have given up. You think this country can never be good, can never get better. And so you forgive politicians for stealing and for mediocrity. Because you say to yourselves, they are all thieves. They are all selfish, and nothing will change. But is that really true? It is not. Many people ask me, why am I running for office again? And I ask them, what has changed since I began this mission? Can you honestly, truly say to yourself that our country has changed for the better? Are our children safe when they go to school? Are our parents safe when we leave them at home? Is the naira in your bank account of greater value today than it was 4 years ago? I am Muhammad Buhari. I am urging you to have your PVC, and on election day, you go peacefully and vote and make sure your vote count. Thank you very much.
Glad to have you join us again. Of course, it's national platform we have here. So if you've got one political idea, agenda, or whatever it is, you can always find a safe platform to tell Nigerians about your dreams on Core Digest. The numbers, of course, you will find on the scroll bar how you can make inquiries and get that done in time. I'm joined this morning, of course, by a veteran security consultant. But before I show you his face, let me quickly intimate you with what the Nigeria's military authorities are saying. They are, of course, of the opinion that there are available evidence now that shows that only 150 persons, including a number of terrorists, were killed in the recent insurgent attack on Baga in Borno State. Earlier, some media had put it at 2,000 lost. According to defense spokesman Chris Olukolade, is saying that the 2,000 is a far cry from what actually happened. He also disclosed at a press briefing in Abuja that the military is currently carrying out air and land bombardment in Baga, all in an effort to reclaim the strategic town from Boko Haram.
As you might be aware, there was another terror attack on the town of Baga in Borno State last week, which left a number of people dead. Following that unfortunate attack, a lot of speculations and conjectures have been peddled by a section of the Nigerian media, particularly the online media, regarding the casualty rate of that incident. Some claim that over 1,000 people were killed, while many others wrote with some sense of certainty that 2,000 people lost their lives in that singular attack. Without any doubt, terrible atrocities have been committed against innocent Nigerians in Baga by the rampaging terrorists who attacked and have been operating in the town since 3rd of January 2015. Necessary actions are being taken to put an end to the activities of terrorists and restore law and order to that community. To this end, a lot of covert operations, including surveillance activities, which recorded series of aerial photographs, are ongoing in that vicinity. It is, however, necessary to inform Nigerians in the interim that the exercise so far have not corroborated the report of the casualty rate, which was put at 2,000 deaths. From all available evidence, the number of people who lost their life during that attack has so far not exceeded about 150 in the interim. This figure includes many of the terrorists who were bearing arms and got killed in the course of their attack and battle with troops.
Olukolade there, Defense Headquarters spokesman. Retired Colonel Azan Stan Lambo is a veteran security consultant joining us today on Cool Digest. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Morning.
Happy New Year to you.
Once more, happy to be here.
The last time you were here, I believe, was sometimes in 2014.
Yes, right.
Are you surprised that we're still talking about terrorists captured by Boko Haram months after you were so optimistic that things will get better?
Well, you will recall I mentioned confidently here the last time I was around that insurgency is not something you fight in a hurry. And without being pessimistic, I'm just trying to be a realist. We shall stay with this thing for quite some while. I can assure you that. The Americans are still in Afghanistan till today. That's enough to let you know, with all the might of America. The point is that all we need to do is to see how much of support we can bring to bear on the military and see how we can deal with this unfortunate situation.
But relative to how the war is being fought in other developed climes, sometimes last week, 2 suspected terrorists unleashed terror on a particular media outlet in Paris, and within 3 days, the 2 brothers were killed. And then it looks as if France was able to meet up with that challenge. Of course, quite a number of people died. But unlike killing the suspected terrorists within few days, doesn't sound like much of what we hear in this part of Nigeria or in this part of the world.
I'm not trying to take sides with the Nigerian military because it is my constituency. No, far from it. I've always at times, like you know very much, be very, very objective in my commentary over the situation in our country. Look, frankly speaking, the military has also here achieved certain, they've also made some level of success, okay? Fine, what happened in France is quite commendable, and we wish such a thing could be taking place here, but that should not begin to erode in any way some level of achievement that we think the military has been able to cover on ground, okay? We all know what has brought us to the situation where we are, our ill preparation, ill state of preparation, and all the rest stuff. But we just don't have to keep looking backwards and crying. We'll see how we can always improve on our situation, upgrade on equipment, upgrade on our equipment, and then see how we forge ahead with the entire situation. It's unfortunate, really.
The military spokesman says that the casualties in Baga was not 2,000, as it was earlier reported. It was 150.
Yeah.
Many have asked, what's the difference whether it was 1 or 2? The bottom line was that lives of precious Nigerians were lost.
That's the important thing.
Well, where should we be getting our genuine figures from? Because how come 2,000 people were reported when only about 150 died.
Who reported 2,000 in the first place?
Well, not confirmed yet, but of course, media reports.
Yeah, and talking out of experience, because I've been engaged in things like this in Liberia and all the rest of places around. Look, the military authorities are in a better position to tell us the amount of casualty on ground, be they personnel, be they civilian casualty, and so on. Because there is always a head count after every operation to enable us ascertain.
Thank God you've been on the field too.
Yes.
There's this notion amongst the people that the federal government in collaboration with the military have a way of playing down on the figures of casualties. Is it a type of intelligence gathering system within the ranks and file of the Nigerian military, or it's the way it's been done across board?
I wouldn't know of that because my training actually did not expose me to such things. After every engagement, there is always a head count to enable us know casualty levels, okay, the injured, the dead, and so on, both on enemy side, that is those who are on ground, and also on side, and of course too, civilian casualties on ground. Okay, this is always a setting, and my training never told me then you play with the figures because of no. If politicians are trying to do that, fine, best known to them.
But do you think they do it in this part of the world? Because it's a popular belief somehow on the streets that, well, what you hear on the news or on the newspaper is just like half of what actually happened.
My brother, this is Nigeria, a country where everything is possible. I will not be surprised if government is trying to play with the figures, because of course it's an election period, and you know the government has been on its has been on the hot seat all this while, because unfortunately for them everything's just going wrong as we draw closer to February 14. Everything keeps going wrong in this country. It's unfortunate, but that's the situation. So I would not be surprised if that is what is playing out. I wouldn't be.
Let's also look at the possibility of making this an issue-based campaign tool, because what the APC has been saying is we will defeat Boko Haram if we get power. As an experienced military personnel, is that possible that we just change power, there's possibility of change of power, and then a new administration comes to defeat this head front, something that has been here for years? And it's not as if the Jonathan-led administration has
I would explain why you have such comments coming on. I would explain. If I were in the shoes of, permit me to use the name of the individual I want to refer to, General Buhari, who is of course the opposition candidate. If I were in his shoes, I would say the same thing. Why would I be saying that? One, because fine, I will be taking into cognizance the fact that I am a soldier. Two, I will be taking into cognizance my wealth of experience in doing those things. Three, I will be taking into cognizance the fact that there's been a total failure in handling of the situation by the commander-in-chief. It's a high point I have to use. What else do you expect me to say? I will tell you, look, once I come in, I would address the issue.
Does it work that way? Are we looking at a possibility whereby the reason why things are not working at this time is because the man in power doesn't have any military training or any military background, so to speak? Does it follow that way? Most of the leaders in the world, Barack Obama, I can't recall whether he was once in the U.S. Army or the Navy. Does it really matter if you were experienced on the field as a general or as a soldier to probably positively impact on situations like this?
I want you to understand that lots of other sundry issues may have informed the perception the public generally has towards the government. I don't want to say towards the commander-in-chief, towards the government and the handling of the situation in the Northeast. Okay? When you take into sum total all the negatives that have been coming out, your aircraft in South Africa with dollars and all sorts of corruption that's ongoing, all the deprivations which citizens are suffering because there's a clear sign of mismanagement of both the economy and misgovernance. All sums up to begin to give you, to point in the direction of the fact that, look, that's why these guys cannot even cope with the insurgency. We wish we had a change. I'm trying to justify why this type of comments are coming out. Because frankly speaking, like you rightly said, after all, an Obama in the US never had any form of military experience, and so on. But why is it that these sort of comments have not come up, and so on? You know, in our own case, these comments are justified. Looking at it from every angle is justified. How come your military has not been, you know, properly armed? How come the equipments were not upgraded? How come the inventory was not taken care of all this while? Fine, the sitting government might want to look back to other administrations and say, they never did it, but you've been there for 6 years. For the past 6 years, what did you do?
You know
and
what?
Looking back again, you see that for the past 16 years or so, since we've had democracy, why is it that the same party that has been in power did not bother to equip the military, never had the foresight to add salt to the injury? Corruption has been ongoing.
Well, you know, one of the things Mr. President also questioned was what efforts did all of these past leaders make in investing in the Nigerian military? He even asked the General Muhammadu Buhari that he didn't even buy a rifle to the Nigerian military.
Yes, I will ask you how
Maybe
long
you
was
can
Buhari
testify
in
to
power?
that.
How long was Buhari in power? Barely 1.5 years or thereabout, from 83 or 84 to 85. Barely less than 2 years or thereabout. How long has the PDP civilian government been in power? 16 years stretch. And besides, the man who is asking Buhari the question has been in power for 6 years.
On a light side, are you sympathetic with Buhari because you are a
I'm being
military
objective
person?
with the situation on ground. I'm being very objective. You know the way I've always related to issues here. I hit it straight on the... Look, I'm being very objective. This is my country. I'm not a government contractor, so I don't owe anybody any... I'm being very objective.
But you made mention in your opening remark that this insurgency of the thing is a global thing, and it's not going to end just at
as soon as we expect it.
So where does the APC get the idea that if you vote us into power, we would defeat Boko Haram from?
They have, like I told you, if I were to be in the position of the APC henchman, I would make some of those comments because I'll be looking at my vantage position as a veteran from the military, looking at my my experience, looking at my past achievements with Metesine and all the rest stuff. I'll sum up all that and tell you, look, I could bring a difference to bear in my handling of the situation.
Can you compare the Metisine of the years past with the Boko Haram of today?
If Metisine had not been checked, it would have spread to the point where Boko Haram
Considering the kind of technology and the global support that this new terrorism has, relative to what...
My brother, when Metisine was on, I was a junior officer. Okay? We knew the type of ammunition that was at their disposal. Okay? If those guys had not been outlawed, by now, we could have been having something even beyond Boko Haram. It is your state of preparedness as at when the whole thing starts, and your foresight in seeing that this damn thing is quelled, and stop playing politics with it.
Buhari or Jonathan, do you see Boko Haram being defeated, based on your experience now, within a 4-year political presidential tenure?
I would say yes, if it's 4 years. The physical aspect. Then now, if we have a serious DDR program, I think we can fully disabuse the minds of all these individuals who might be involved in it and see that they are well reintegrated into the society.
The phone lines are up already, and people can't wait to call in. So let's just find out what they have to say. When you call in, please endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest Tuesday. What's your name?
Thank you. It's Abdulaziz on the line from Ilorin.
Abdulaziz from Ilorin. How is Ilorin this morning?
Man, I'm okay.
Hope you are coping well with the with the Hamatan.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Yeah. Permit me first to greet my amiable senior colleagues in the studio. He's a fantastic man. But you know, we Nigerians, we should start to learn how to listen to professionals while they speak. We have not been tapping the talents of security professionals in these countries. These are the... You can see how this man has been analyzing the issue of security. Here you know that Mr. President, as the chief of armed forces in Nigeria, has failed Nigerians. At least you have testified to it during the Mitasini wars. What type of ammunitions are in the outfits of the Nigerian military? How they combat these people? How they fought these people to stand still? But today, these are those things we are lacking. My gentle friend, if you listen to the BBC now, so I'm able to understand the language. You see how Nigerian soldiers confessing having only 2 bullets to face a whole Boko Haram that is there with an ammo tank. Then how do you want these soldiers to stay and fight the war with all the blood? My gentle friend, the ammunition we have in this country are porous. These are not the type of ammunition the Boko warfronts. People using guerrilla warfronts and we combating them with just unsophisticated ammunition. We are only playing politics with the issue of Boko Haram. Mr. President did not have the zeal to combat this. We have everything to combat Boko Haram in this country. We have been to Sudan, we have been to other countries, we have been to Somalia. We crushed them down. Why in our own indigenous country? The countries we know the territories, the countries we hold the air, we hold the land, we hold everything. We are still failing. Mr. President is there telling people that others presidents have failed to combat it. Please, this is Mr. President, he should hold his destiny in his hands. He should tell Nigerians the truth. Is this truly fighting Boko Haram or is only making politics in the life of this of our...
Are you there? Okay. I'm not always very comfortable when we put all of this on Mr. President, because is it impossible to detach the efforts of the past leadership, past political leadership? Because recently you recall that the National Assembly also passed a bill, Mr. President, making effort to get $1 billion loan in his bid to reinforce the armory of the Nigerian army. Is it impossible, or is it possible rather, to detach the efforts of past political leadership in investing into the Nigerian army? This is just a single president who has been there for about 4 or 5 years.
Well, personally, I have always, to start with, why the hit seems to be much on Mr. President is because, look, he is the commander-in-chief, and he is the current commander-in-chief. The buck stops on his table. He takes the blame for whatever thing that goes wrong. He takes the credit for whatever achievement that is made in the field. Okay? But I think I have always tried not to separate the inadequacies of past leadership in addressing this issue, or, to be specific, in equipping the military in preparation for unforeseen situations like this. Okay? And that's why you had me talking about the past 16 years, which we have had democracy. Okay? I can probably want to say, well, maybe some of the few leaders who were at the tail end or at the initial stage of our democracy, the military leaders who handed over and so on, may probably be hesitating to import or bring in some forms of ammunition and what have you, for one reason or the other. That, look, there's no need re-equipping the military now. Let's pipe down, hand over to these guys, and then let them take on from there. Of course, for obvious reasons, which we all know. Look, there's no point giving these guys new ammunition because of this, and that. Let's successfully hand over and watch and make sure democracy thrives in our country.
You know, some have also questioned the relationship that exists between the challenges of time past, decades ago, and the present-day challenges. Would you agree that the same tactics still work for those who are in support of the general, so to speak? Because you have also been on the field. Would you say that it is still the same approach of fighting the Mutasene? Is still the same approach or the same warfare tactics you used to fight Boko Haram in 2015?
They are all, I see all of them as terrorists, insurgent actions, okay, that require, of course, the sort of reaction we are beginning to bring to bear on it, okay? The only thing is that, like it's often been said, the regular training which our soldiers are exposed to, you know, does not, at the initial stage, never enable them to be able to meet the challenges emanating from insurgency.
I see.
Okay, and so on. And of course, like we all know, a good number of attempts have been made, even within the military institutions, to see that training on terrorism and so on, you know, are being incorporated in the curriculum.
Let me quickly take this tweet. KU's Bukola says, this man is talking reality and is making sense. Thank you and God bless you. Let's take another call now, but if you can't reach us on telephone, Twitter handle is on the screen for you to follow. All you need to do is follow us at Call Digest Live, and we'll also read out your comments and inquiries on that platform. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest.
How are you? Good morning.
I'm terrific. Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
All right. There is something I want to say about security.
Okay, let me have your name and where you're calling from first.
My name is... Hello?
Turn down the volume of your TV set.
That is done. That is done.
Follow up by telling me your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Abiodun. I'm calling from Ilorin.
Okay, Abiodun from Ilorin, you have 1 minute. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, as a military officer, it is very difficult for Buhari to disclose. Hello?
I'm with you. Go ahead. We're with you. Go ahead, please.
It is very difficult for Buhari, a former military officer, to disclose to the world how he intends to dislodge Boko Haram. The issue of security is strategic. So it will be stupid of him to disclose to the whole world. That will not make any... If a gang of robbers are coming to your house and you tell their informants that when they come, you will hide in the ceiling, will it not be easy for them to detect where you are when they come? So I think it is very good as Buhari is keeping his strategy to his chest as far as the issue of Boko Haram is concerned.
Okay.
Then for President Jonathan to be accusing the former leaders of not doing enough as far as acquisition of war equipment is concerned, I think he also has his own fault. For the past 16 years that PDP has been in power, what have they done? They have their sons and daughters in the military. Now that the war is fought for them to go and face Boko Haram, they are keeping their sons and daughters away. They want the sons and daughters of poor men to go and do the war. Jonathan is not doing enough, and by the special grace of God, God will lead us correct and give us a leader.
Okay, there you go again, and I will give you the opportunity to complain on this platform. It's all right. But the Nigerian military also has claimed certain victories in recapturing certain territories in northeastern Nigeria. One key ingredient that they are focusing on is discipline, and that brings to mind also the idea of mutiny. Numbers keep coming every day, 48, 54 being charged, what do you call it now, being sentenced to death penalty as a result of mutiny. As someone who has been there, and you've also heard the claims of these soldiers, how would you describe this situation? If the Nigerian army is saying we are winning this war, we are making certain progress, and it's because of discipline. On the other hand, how would you justify the mutiny and the death penalty sentence?
To start with, I want you to understand, and of course the audience to understand, that the Nigerian army is a voluntary army. You joined out of your own volition. It's not a conscripted army. You were not forced into it. And I think even despite that the Boko Haram insurgency has been going on, we have not had any form of conscription yet into the army. Having said that, it means that you understand the entire rules and regulations that governs the military as an institution before you opted to come in. Two, I want the audience to understand that the military is not pretending to be a democracy or a democratic organization, even though it operates within a democratic environment. The military is completely a dictatorial outfit, and it remains dictatorial, okay? And run on the basis of hierarchy, running from the top to the down. Fine. If it has its rules and regulations and you go against it, the military also has enough structures within its ambit to deal with whatever issues of discipline or indiscipline that may be arising within its confines. I would, as much as possible, want to urge our citizens out there to, as much as possible, allow the military to please play out its game without any form of interruption.
You talked about voluntary participation.
Yes, sure.
Is it possible that we also recall the economic situation of the country? Is it possible that people are getting into the Nigerian military today to get a job and fend for their family? Isn't that a possibility?
Why not? Yes.
Hasn't that also impacted on the commitment and vis-a-vis the penalties that should come on such Nigerian youths who only are wearing khaki to get a living?
How does the military come in there? If you have opted to join the military for whatever reasons of yours, you have opted to join. The rules and regulations governing the organization will not be twisted or modified because you have come in out of some sympathy reasons.
But does that also mean that I've opted to die, even if it means that I'm not well equipped to do my job?
You have opted to lay down your life for your country.
Does it not sound like someone is asking me that, okay, I give you a job as a presenter on Core TV, but I don't have money to pay for your suit, so whatever it is you have, you can wear a singlet to present. Do you think I'm going to do the job?
I don't think there's any basis of comparison between the Core TV and the military as an institution.
Are they not both?
No. Look, you need to understand the culture of the military when you come in, okay? Look, and that is why at the first instance of your training, there is an attempt to completely change your mindset from being a civilian into being a soldier, because the calling of a soldier is completely different from all the liberties you have as a civilian. Do you understand me, sir? So it is important that you get that. And when you are a soldier, my brother, your life is completely laid down for the country. Go, you go without questioning. Come, you come without questioning. The idea of whether suit and singlet does not come in. So if he has asked you to go there, read that news, you bloody well move there and read that news.
Yes, sir. But are you saying now that this death penalty is actually on the right path for this Nigerian?
Fine, that is another thing for consideration.
Just before you answer that, sir, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
How are you?
I'm terrific. What's your name?
I'm Usman from Airport Road, Abuja.
Usman from Abuja. How's Abuja this morning?
Abuja is okay, cold.
I know it should be cold everywhere. Please go ahead with your contribution. Let's keep ourselves warm for now.
Yeah, how are you doing?
We're doing fine.
I'm saying hi to my colleague there on the high table.
Thank you so much.
Good morning to my colleague on the high table there.
Good morning. Thank you so much, please.
What you are saying is correct. Are you listening to me?
Yes, we're with you.
Yeah, but for those of us who are once in the military, this is what is happening. It's the kind of, it's popular, that's all, it's popular. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, sir.
In a nutshell, what I'm going to say is that there is no political will in facing these Boko Haram insurgency. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead with the contribution. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I am saying is that the Nigerian soldier, the typical soldier, is well known worldwide.
Okay.
Some of us have participated in these campaigns in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Sudan, and whatever. And we came up tops.
So to come and tell us that the equipment we have now was since the time of Shagari, I'm very aware.
Yeah. And
if the present leaders do not buy those things, do not get new ones, why are they blaming anybody? Please, this is an idea that to those who are not in the military, they will not understand. But this insurgency, I tell you, if we can perform outside, we can perform better in Nigeria.
Yeah,
it's all right. Thank you very much for.
Like he mentioned about the necessity issue. Yes, we are also very young that time in the military, and we knew how it was tackled. So please, let them keep politics aside, and let's maintain and retain our country. We want Nigeria to be one, and let's face it. If the CEC cannot lead the fight against this threat, it's supposed to be in the front, not behind.
Yeah.
So please, let the military juggernaut give him the right decision and right direction. And on the issue of people who are facing court martials, yes, like what the content said is correct. But let me tell you, a military man requires three things. He needs training, he needs equipment, and motivation. Any of these three, if it's not there, you cannot go and endanger anybody's life.
Yeah.
Those young guys, I look at them, most of them are private soldiers. Yeah. Most of them.
Very young.
The highest among them is the corporal. So how many years have they actually put in the service? You know? So there is a lot to talk about. Yeah. The military, we should not be radical like this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for.
Career in a very good time. We had a purpose.
I see.
So people should not come and waste our time and belittle us.
I see.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Usman. Thanks so much.
But let us look at this situation. You have already established the fact that there's no relationship between my job and the job of a military man.
Right.
But then he also talked about training, equipment, and motivation. In a situation where all of those things allegedly are not provided, is joining military now equal to a suicide mission?
That's where I was about moving into before his call came in. These are basics that should be provided to enable the soldier to do his job. Unfortunately, like we all know and like we've been saying, some of these things have not really been there. But I think the very basis for which some of these guys have been court-martialed and so on was for disobedience of military orders and things like that, you know. And there is no way we can want to excuse them from any form of indiscipline that has been shown. There are other channels for maybe conveying your grievance or your observations and so on. But it is important that when we are sending soldiers to battle, we get them very well prepared. And we don't send bare-handed soldiers to battle. Gone are the days when you fight battles out of the muzzles of your biceps. Yes, you know, these days you fight battles in most cases from technology has informed that battles are fought.
Let's quickly take a commercial break now.
Yes.
And we'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Fellow Nigerians, as we enter a new year, let us talk Nigerian to Nigerian. Many of you believe that something is wrong with Nigeria. Many of you have given up. You think this country can never be good, can never get better. And so you forgive politicians for stealing and for mediocrity. Because you say to yourselves, they are all thieves. They are all selfish. And nothing will change. But is that really true? It is not. Many people ask me, why am I running for office again? And I ask them, what has changed since I began this mission? Can you honestly, truly say to yourself that our country has changed for the better? Are our children safe when they go to school? Are our parents safe when we leave them at home? Is the naira in your bank account of greater value today than it was 4 years ago? I, Muhammad Buhari, I am urging you to have your PVC, and on election day, you go peacefully and vote and make sure your vote count. Thank you very much.
Welcome back for advertorials and inquiries. You get all of the questions answered when you call that line scrolling on the scroll bar. Thank you for staying with us. Just about 5 more minutes and we call it a wrap on the show. I'll also give you the opportunity to make 1 or 2 calls in case you want to ask the retired colonel 1 or 2 questions. But is there no such thing as temporary justice with mercy in the Nigerian military? Is there not a possibility of overturning the pronouncement of the court-martial? Of course, we hear of a human rights activist who is talking on behalf of these soldiers. But do you see a possibility of things changing for better for these people who have been sentenced to death?
To start with, I want us to understand there are windows of appeal. I don't know if all that has been exhausted. I don't know if the lawyers who are standing in for the soldiers have been able to make good use of such available windows at the appeal court and maybe right to the Supreme Court. Secondly, I think the prerogative of the commander-in-chief could be brought into bear. I don't know if all this has been fully, utilized.
Exhausted, I understand.
Yes, the most important thing is that we should allow the military to do
their jobs. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, this is Tochukwu from Anambra.
Tochukwu, how are you today?
I'm very fine, and you?
Terrific. Is the Harmattan in Anambra too?
Terrible here too.
It is well with you. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, please, my heart also goes to those who lost their lives in the Baga attack. It's so unfortunate. This also, I want to use this opportunity to remind Nigerians that it's time to stop killing ourselves deliberately and always remind security agents that they have a duty to play. And as long as we continue to murder ourselves, it is not just Boko Haram, other minor issues, we should stop it because the security agents are overwhelmed. Their number is quite very small compared to our size. Having said that, the line of argument this morning is believe that the opposition, this time around, General Buhari has the capacity and the technical know-how to solve Boko Haram. He is elected. I want to believe that he should be patriotic enough to lend his support to the government, like every other Nigerians will do, in order to tackle the issue of Boko Haram. And again, quickly, it's on record. Let's not forget that it's on record that the North, whether directly or indirectly, created this menace. And it's also a fact that Goodluck Jonathan, even though he has not scored 90% or 100%, but has been providing the military with equipment. He has also appointed capable hands, except otherwise want to argue that those persons appointed as military and the feminists are not capable. But in as much as we believe and agree that they are capable, I think it is quite unfair for us to always cast aspersion to the president's regime and make political capital from it. Because in as much as I look at the opposition as providing us an alternative, I also believe that these are the same group of politicians who were in the ruling party, but disgruntled and they have not confided the theory to the opposition, trying to form holier than that attitude. So Nigerians, we need a viable opposition that has not been stained before, opposition that we can believe in and trust in. And not those opposition who will come to make political capital to tell us our solve issue of security, whereas they don't have the capacity to do so. So this is
it's all right, Tochukwu. Oh, it's getting clouded there, but I believe you made your point, Tochukwu. I don't want to bother you with political matters any longer. Let's quickly touch on the development in northeast Nigeria. Recently, Mr. President met with the governors in that area. It looks as if their position as at today, as at that time, I think last week, was that elections will still hold in these states. INEC recently also shared with us a distribution of the PVC that they have distributed as at 7th January. None in Borno yet. How do you see elections hold? What would be your own professional perception or perspective as regards this?
Frankly speaking, INEC is the only organization that I would say is in a better position to say if they can conduct an election in the northeastern part of the country or not. The onus for that actually rests with INEC. The best the military can do is to see that they are able to avail enough protection for safety for lives and property. Okay, it is not maybe for the military or for those of us who are not within INEC to begin to make pronouncements.
But from the things we've seen on air,
yeah.
and here, do you think it wise to go ahead with elections in this?
Have we not just finished elections in Afghanistan? If elections can hold in Afghanistan, why can't elections hold in Europe?
In Syria and all of that.
Yeah.
It's all right. Let's take this last call on the show today. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Call Digest. Are you there?
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
Yeah, I'm here.
Turn down the volume of your TV set. Can you do that for me?
My name is Israel. My name is Israel. I've done that. My name is Israel. I'm calling from Abeokuta.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Israel, with your contribution.
I just want to comment on what the last caller said. Why are we always acting as if when we have to start from somewhere realistic? Nigeria is one of the most uncivilized societies in the whole of the world. Leadership-wise, followership-wise. The last person who called just now was talking about a stainless opposition. Where will you get that? Where are you? For Rawlings to clear Ghana, do you want to tell me his method was stainless? But is Ghana not the better for it today?
Yes.
So I want to believe that we should make do with what we immediately have, so that we'll be able to save our children's future and our children's children. This talk of us getting an opposition that is stainless, an opposition that is completely pure in a country led by corruption for a long time is just not realistic. Let people stop thinking like that.
It's all right.
If people have been disgruntled from the main party and they have decided to move over to the opposition party, I want to believe that the opposition party has already learned a great deal from the easily avoidable mistakes of the ruling party. And I believe they are putting structures in place in order to make sure that they don't fall into the same pitfalls. But this issue of us thinking that we can have a stainless and a pure transition from the jungle that we have made Nigeria to be in the last 16 years is not just realistic. Let's support whatever opposition we have now, that has something on the table that is realistic enough. And let's stop thinking that we are super civilized when we are not civilized at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Israel, very much. Thank you for your contribution from Abeokuta. Retired Colonel, it's also a pleasure to have you join us today. But then, let me quickly ask this. Is it possible that the general will get some sympathy from people like you and your colleagues who are biased for the Nigerian military at these very sensitive electoral times?
Did you say bias for the Nigerian military?
Of course, you would be biased to your profession, wouldn't you?
No, we owe the military some sense of loyalty, I would say.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think I would rather prefer the word
loyalty than no bias. I get it.
Bias. And in fact, you must understand that such loyalty is informed by the experience we've had.
Okay.
And it rests upon some of us who are out here to be able to explain to our civilian colleagues that, look, this is not really, the perception you might have could be wrong. We've been there, we know what's happening.
Okay.
Look, the man in the field actually needs this and that and so on. And you help mold public perception in a better way to be able to support the military in achieving its objective. And by so doing, of course, they'll be attaining the higher commander's intentions.
Thank you very much for joining us today. I've been speaking with veteran security consultant, retired Colonel Hassan Stanlambo. It's always a pleasure to have you join us on Call Digest. The calls keep coming in, and we keep telling you we can't take all of the calls, but we have an alternative for you. So if you're not yet internet compliant, it's an opportunity to learn it. Get a Twitter handle at Call Digest Live. Follow us, and we'll get all of your comments on that platform. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Join us again for another interesting edition of Call Digest tomorrow. Don't forget, we have a window open now to find out what your PVC story is all about. If you've gotten your permanent voter cards, how you went about it, and we'll also give you opportunities to share that with us tomorrow, God willing. We'll wrap up the show now, and I'll be back at the top of the hour with the news update. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.